pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So, yes, Councilor Miller.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to add item from the Public Works Director regarding the DEP, ARPA, and OSG grant acceptance funds.
Is there a
Second.
motion? Second. All in favor? Unanimous. I should also note that Councilor Kaplan is absent this evening. It's an excused absence.
And you want to give the date for the record? The date of this meeting?
Oh, I did.
Oh, sorry, didn't hear it.
Tony got it. So we will, and we'll add that, we'll make that item 16, and then move all the others from there. Okay, item 3, rules of order. We follow Robert's Rules of Order and any other rules that are adopted during the annual planning meeting. Item 4, adoption of the Ellsworth City Council minutes from the following meetings, March 21st, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Item 5, City Manager's Report. Manager Mosier.
Thank you. Good evening, councilors. I actually have quite a lengthy report here for tonight, so I'll try to go as quickly as I can, but we have set a tentative schedule for the budget workshops, so I just wanted to kind of run down those real quickly for the citizens. So on Monday, April 25th, so a week from today, we're going to start. We'll do the introduction, review of revenue, administrative department budgets, library, and the general fund. And on Monday, May 2nd, we had a switch. We're actually going to be doing the public safety, so police and fire. Monday, May 9th will be the school department. Monday, May 23rd will be maintenance, public works, water department, and wastewater. And then finally on Monday, June 6th, we'll do the capital budgets, social services, recreation, review of debt, and council review and discussion. And along the way, if we need additional dates, we'll certainly accommodate. But right now, that's the tentative schedule going forward for the budget workshops. Additionally, I just wanted to send out a couple of thank yous. One to city staff, particularly Jana, Elena, Jane, Adam, and Steve, who participated, among others, in the building in the Ukraine aid, which was wildly successful. In the 7 days, we collected 7,000 pounds of donations and took those down to New Hampshire, where they were put into a shipping container and sent over to Poland for eventual final destination of the Ukraine. We had everything from couple of brand new generators donated to crutches and other types of medical type of equipment and everything in between. So it was a very successful, and thank you to those employees and all the other employees who helped out with that endeavor. I also wanted to just give a quick thank you to Helen's Restaurant and Healthy Acadia and all of the folks from the city of Ellsworth who came and citizens who came out to the Helen's last week for a tip-a-cop event. I'm very excited to say that we raised over $4,000 in just a couple of hours for Project Hope. And so that money will go to helping folks who suffer from substance abuse disorder and getting the treatment that they need. So thank you to everyone who participated and everyone who donated. Harbor Park Marina will officially open on May 15th. Knowlton Park will open on Memorial Weekend, May 28th. And just a quick announcement about the city forest. We had a bridge on the Blue Trail that's in a pretty bad state of disrepair. So that portion of that trail is going to be closed for the foreseeable future until we can get that bridge replaced. It became a safety issue, so we had to take the bridge out. A couple of other announcements. The 5th annual Ellsworth roadside cleanup is kicking off April 23rd, and it runs through May 1st. You can pick up bags here at City Hall, and the Highway Department will be around to pick up those bags if you just leave them in the areas where you do the cleanup. And this Saturday, April 23rd at 9:30 a.m. to noon is the annual Brook cleanup. And the folks who want to donate their time to working in and around the Brook area can show up Saturday morning at 9:30. And the rain date will be Saturday, April 30th. And you can show up in the Hannaford area, and there'll be organizers there to provide you with equipment that you need and point you in the direction of where best to attack the Brook cleanup. Also, we just wanted to let everybody know that we are in the process of planning a ribbon cutting for our solar projects on the Mrsa Road, and we're trying to iron out a date with Sunrays, the project builders. But we're looking at sometime in the first week or two of May for a ribbon cutting, and of course, counselors and citizens are invited to attend that. And that is all I have for this evening. Oh, right, transfer station, thank you. A birdie whispered, I don't know what happened. Ah, here it is, I skipped it somehow. Yeah, so just a notice about the transfer station. So as most of you are probably very well aware, the scale is being replaced. And its work is scheduled to begin on that May 9th. Well, in the meantime, the scale is broken. And it doesn't make a lot of sense to invest money on fixing the broken scale when we're replacing it in just a couple of weeks. So the scale is going to be down, so folks will have to purchase bags. They won't be able to, or stickers, they won't be able to come in and use the scale until the new scale is in place, which will take a few weeks. And that is all I have.
Any questions, comments? All right, seeing none. Committee reports. Any counselors attend any committee meetings? Last meeting?
Chair Hamilton and I attended the Recreation Commission. Basically, we're going over the budget there for the Recreation Commission to forward to the council. They've had one meeting to discuss it, and then they've gone and evaluated the different organizations, and they're having another discussion, and then they'll be forwarding us their results. Do you have anything else?
No, that was. Anyone else? All right. Item 7, citizens' comments. It's a portion where citizens, anybody can make a comment, just go to up to the podium, introduce yourself.
Good evening, councilors. I'm John Lenahan. I have a handout. I don't know whether Tony's handed that to you or not. Okay, you've all got those. I've got 3 items I'd like to mention tonight. First is an update on Constitution Hall. We've been working hard on it for several months, as most of you know. We've had many soft openings and soft launches on just about every aspect of it. And I'm excited to say that over the next 2 or 3 weeks, I think it's going to be May 6th, we're going to have actually our grand opening for it that night. I put these in front of you tonight just to give you an idea of what events we are having there. Every Friday night, we're having a free Friday movie night. We have a variety of movies there. Some are educational, some are entertainment. So we just showed The Passion of Christ there this week in honor of Easter, so that was this week's movie. And the day of our grand opening, we're very honored to have Seth Keschel here with us. Seth is a nationally known expert on election fraud, and there's been a lot of controversy on that going around our country, and I think he's one of the best speakers to have, so he will be here. And he just notified us actually yesterday, another person that he speaks with many times is Captain James, I may be pronouncing his name wrong, Tesoro, but he's going to be joining him as well like that. So I think we're going to be extremely blessed to have that group of people here for that meeting. We will probably have our grand opening at 4 o'clock. I'll make sure you guys get plenty of notice before that. And then there also is a meet and greet for Seth Keschel, same evening. So that's going to be an awesome evening. And then the final flyer I wanted to give you is on Constitution Alive. We've had several constitutional meetings out there like that, which I've been very excited about. I'm learning to run the projector and the sound, so I'm kind of the sound guy out there. So I've had to sit through every one of them so far that we've had, but I've really enjoyed them out there. And if you haven't really taken a look at our Constitution and the history of it, the background of it, I encourage you to. Every Thursday night at 6 o'clock, we've been doing that. This is a new series of starting. It's going to be starting May 18th. And I like this because it integrates the biblical, historical background of our Constitution. And I think that's something that's not taught in the schools nowadays, and something a lot of us have not had a good background in. And the Constitution is a solution, I believe, for our nation and for the problems that we have going through right now. So I just encourage you to take advantage of some of those. So Constitution Hall is coming very, very well. I'm excited about having our official grand opening on May 6th. Also, at the last council meeting, there was a vote, there's awarding of a contract that went to a higher bid than a local business person, Andrew McCullough, here in our community. And I've never talked to Andrew about it, but it just bothered me sitting there. I think, I think we need to be a lot more business-friendly or user-friendly, if you will, to our own local people. I was really disappointed with that night, to be honest with you. And I think that should never happen. Number one, finances are tight all around. And I think any dollar we have, if we can save $12,000, which I think Andrew's bid was roughly $12,000 less, I was very disappointed the way that was handled. To be honest with you, if I was on the council and he was a few $1,000s more, I'd bid to give it to him. I think we need to take care of our local people. I just thought that was a very poor message that was sent. And I think Andrew's a good guy in the community. He's always around to help anybody that needs everything like that. And my third and final thing is I want to encourage the council to really look at financial stewardship. I'm 73 years old. I've had multiple businesses around the state of Maine. I've been involved with finances and that type of business, that type of process all my life like that. I'm really concerned about our nation financially, our state financially. It's trickled down to our cities like that. You can't keep printing off trillions and trillions of paper money. It's funny money. It's monopoly money. Every time they print it out, people say, well, inflation stuff's going up. How about your dollars just going down in value every time they print another dollar out? So I encourage our city to really be prudent, and I would like to see a hiring freeze on all employees in the city. I think there's going to be some very, very bad times coming. I happen to be a prepper. I'm prepared for the worst. I'm praying and hoping for the best, but I'm prepared for some really tough times coming. I've been through a few recessions, not a depression, but I think what's coming is going to get everybody's attention, and I'd just like to see our city prepared to have a handle on it ahead of time. So I just present that for what it's worth, and thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Guys, have a good evening.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nate Hansen. I'm a resident here. Just briefly, at last month's council meeting, we had dozens of citizens engaged with city council. This place was full, as you all remember. And while the opinions expressed were all over the spectrum, every person at this podium spoke in a civil and respectful manner. Though people clearly had strong opinions on both sides of the debate, people maintained an appropriate demeanor. Every adult and even every teenager, especially every teenager, spoke and presented themselves with composure and propriety. After those dozens of citizen comments, Councilor Blanchette unfortunately made a decision to break from civil discourse. He yelled at individual citizens. He even swore at one attendee. He used vulgar language toward the teenagers who gathered in the room. And it was disappointing, and it demeaned the proceeding. I hope the councilor understands how such behavior discourages civil engagement, and it makes it more difficult for this body to do its job in representing the citizens and in acting in their interests. I hope that none of us have to see that kind of behavior from the dais in the future. Thanks.
Mr. Hanson, anytime that you dumb down the veterans of this country,
Mr. Hamilton,
you will hear language from them.
when it wasn't an
Listen,
appropriate time for him to address a citizen
Please,
directly.
please stop. I was about to address it, and I don't need you to step in
You're right.
while I'm trying to do that,
Absolutely right.
all right? I will remind all counselors to please, if you want to speak, to wait to be called upon, and we can carry on a conversation at that point. Council Blanchett.
When I hear the dumbing down of veterans that served this country with distinction, honor, and valor, you will hear words from me. And if they happen to be words that you don't like or that you don't approve of, as my grandchildren used to say, too bad, so sad.
So
Don't,
Council Blanchett.
please.
Council Blanchett?
Yes.
So if you want to respond, that's fine, but let's not respond in terms of making it personal. You can
I'm not making it personal, sir.
just please respond to the chair in terms of comments, and rather than get into a debate with somebody else that has a difference of opinion.
I will always stand for the veteran. If nobody else does, I will. Simple as that.
Councilor Hanson.
Can I say something now? Just that nobody said anything bad about veterans during any email that I read or any part of this conversation, so that just feels a little odd.
Counselor, when I hear the word subset being used to describe veterans, a subset of this community, I take umbrage at that. Always have, I always will. They are heroes in most people's books. They are not a subset of this community. They are the pillar of this community.
Maybe the word subset means something different to you. Subset
Right.
just means a one part of a greater part.
I understand what the word
It's not
means.
derogatory.
Can we, if we want to have a discussion, please, let's not get into a debate. Let's be recognized, and we can have a civil conversation about that. But let's not turn it into a debate among councilors. You're welcome to speak, just please be recognized, and we'll address your comments to the chair.
Will I be allowed to speak as well? May I speak?
In terms of a rebuttal? Because I
No,
don't want to, you had,
It's really not a rebuttal. He's brought up a completely separate.
You need
point
to
than
speak at the
anything that I
podium.
said. Man,
you may go ahead, but let me just state something for the record. This process that we have, that we go through, is intended to have public input, and it's intended to have counselor input, and sometimes there's agreement, sometimes there's disagreement. It is one of those things that there is a balance that we all must adhere to. As a council, we have a higher threshold in terms of maintaining that and being respectful of the process. What I try to do as chair is to keep this from becoming a debate back and forth. There are some things that people will take personally. There is a time and a place for that, and an appropriate place. So if I say that, because if the comments are going to be more about personal back and forth, we're going to end that. That conversation can happen outside of this forum. You've had the opportunity to express your concern, which I appreciate you doing. But I just want to keep this from becoming, devolving into just a big debate back and forth on personal issues. So you have the floor.
yeah. I think everyone notices that nothing that I said here pertained to what Councilor Blanchett is trying to make this about. Councilor Blanchett's behavior, we were all here, we all heard his language, he swore, and yes, as he has now brought the conversation to, he referred to an email that I wrote, didn't quote the email, didn't express the content of the email as it was clearly expressed. If you'd like to read the email from up there, that's fine. But that's not really what I talked about here, was it? I talked about your language and the way you treated people on this side of the dais, and it was inappropriate. You have no response to that as far as I can tell. That's all I've come here to say. Thank you.
Mr. Hamilton,
Councilor Blanchett.
I just want to state that I quoted the email that Mr. Hanson sent me. It was simply a copy and paste job. And don't shake your head no.
All right, that's, we're going to end that conversation. If you want to address it, the two of you outside of this, there are plenty of avenues to do that. This is not the appropriate forum.
Good evening. My name is Steve O'Halloran. I'm a citizen here in this town of Ellsworth. Been here 57 years. And I would like to echo two things. Mr. Linehan had stated his displeasure with this council's vote to award a contract to an outside company for $10,000 more. I was equally upset with that, as Mr. Linehan was. The research I did, the firm in Ellsworth, that's a taxpayer in Ellsworth, got sold out by this council. And I'm disappointed in that. I think it's unfair. Not only is it unfair to ask him to bid, then not accept him as a low bidder, but furthermore, the $10,000 more we're sending out of town, some of that is that citizens' money. So I'd like to remind the council of that. Number two is I'd like to echo Mr. Hanson's comments. I have to sit beside this gentleman, and I apologized to the group because of his tone last month, and I would like to apologize tonight again for his tone.
Mr. Hamilton?
We are going to follow the parameters of the charter in terms of being respectful to one another as counselors. And when we make personal comments about other counselors and in a personal manner and not from a perspective of an opinion about the situation at hand, the agenda item, that is going beyond the bounds. And I'm going to ask all counselors to be respectful. As chair, I have a responsibility to address that issue, and I will start addressing that issue because it is becoming increasingly more difficult, more adversarial at this table, and it doesn't need to be. We are not going to address it personally. If you make it personal, you will be asked to stop speaking. And if we have to take it further than that, we will. But we need to maintain decorum among this group in order to conduct the business. That's what we want to have happen. We don't always agree. We want public input, but we need it to be respectful. And that's what I'm requesting. And as chair, if I have to, I will step in to prevent us from going down the wrong road. Anybody else like to speak? All right, moving on. Presentation of awards. There are no awards this evening. Consent agenda, all items with an asterisk are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless the council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. 9, Council Order Number 041801, request of the City Clerk for appointment of wardens and ward clerks for the 4 voting districts within the City of Ellsworth for the June 14th, 2022 City of Ellsworth School Budget Validation Special Municipal Referendum Election. That's a long title. Number 10, Council Order Number 041802, that's 041802, request of the City Clerk for approval on setting the polling places opening time as 8 a.m. for the June 14th, 2022 City of Ellsworth School Budget Validation Special Municipal Referendum Election. And item 11, Council Order Number 041803, request of the tax collector to accept payments on real estate purchase installment contract on property located on map 143, lot 050-000-000, and to authorize the city manager to release said property through a municipal quitclaim deed. Would any councilors like to remove any of those items? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Move as presented.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Item 12, new business. Public hearing and action on the issuance of business licenses. Madam Clerk, is everything all in order with all these? Great. Ellsworth, number 1, LLC DBA Hampton Inn, Ellsworth, 6 Down East Highway for renewal of a city lodging license. This is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing. Public hearing is open. Seeing no comments, I'll close the public hearing. Public hearing is closed.
So moved.
So you have a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Item 13, Council Order Number 041804, request of the Public Works Director to approve an excavator lease agreement for a term of up to 6 months.
Good evening, councilors. Lisa Seklich, Public Works Director. Hold on one moment. So the first item tonight is this is our yearly rental of a excavator for the summer season to do ditching and larger culvert type items. So back in 2017, 18, somewhere in there, we used to own one at one point, and we ended up getting rid of it and decided to go with the rental option yearly. And so I'm requesting to rent an excavator with all the associated attachments for $4,200 a month from Eagle Rental, who we've used the last couple of years without any major issues.
Move as presented.
You have a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Councilor Miller.
How many hours did you put on the one for the 6 months last time?
I couldn't even begin to tell you. I don't know.
Was it used daily, weekly?
Oh, daily. It maybe sat a portion of the time, but 95% of the time it was being used.
Thank you.
Yep.
One further comment. Thank you for recommending the low bidder in this case.
Jesus.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Item 14, Council Order Number 041805, request of the Public Works Director to accept the DEP grant funds for stream crossing.
So the second item tonight is, as you'll see in your packet, is a State of Maine Department of Environmental Protection. We, back this fall, Andrew McCullough, who was part of the discussion previously, helped us put together an application for this grant funding to redo a culvert out on the Red Bridge Road. We found out from DEP that they would like to award us $125,000 toward the replacement of this culvert. And so tonight I am asking to accept those funds so that we can proceed with the engineering and then construction of that project. It is the Red Bridge Road over the Branch Lake Stream, which is a culvert that's approximately over 30 years old and is at the end of its useful life.
Move as presented.
You have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? Councilor Heller.
Any strings attached to this?
As far as,
If we accept it, is there some conditions that's
no,
going to
just
cost the
that
city?
we have to do the project. Other than that, no.
Do you have an estimate of the cost of the project?
The total project is upwards of $700,000+.
And that's at your estimate?
That is the engineer, Andrew McCullough's estimate.
Okay. So if we accept this money, we have to press forward with the,
We continue, yes. There's always a backup clause. If we come into something and we say, no, we don't want to do it, we can tell them we don't want it, but.
thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion? All those opposed? Unanimous. Item 15, Council Order Number 041806, request of the Public Works Director to approve the Water Street Pump Station project.
All right. So this project, as you'll see the attached letter from engineers Woodard and Curran and the bid submitted from contractors. This project has been in the works for those who are newer to the council. This project has been in the works for several years. It's an upgrade to our current wastewater pump station on Water Street near R.F. Jordan and Coastal Interiors. This location is undersized or the pump is undersized, and it has surcharges when extreme weather puts additional strain on our system. An upgrade solution to the problem has been mandated by the Maine DEP, and this project will correct that issue and resolve the mandate from the DEP. On March 17th, we had a bid opening for the project. 3 bids were received, and tonight I'm asking to go with the low bidder, T-Buck Construction.
Councilors.
Move to approve the request of the Public Works Director to award the Water Street Pump Station project to T-Buck Construction as written here.
Second.
Motion and second. Discussion. Councilor O'Halloran.
The DEP has been tolerant of the situation thus far, am I correct? But they're at the end of the rope?
Yeah, they've mandated that we do something about it, and since we have a plan and have been in the works with this project for the last couple of years, they have said, okay, you're making headway towards correcting the issue.
Do you have a, do you have a end cost to this by the time you pay the bond and to borrow the money and all of that?
So we have some money from Northern Borders. We have $500,000 from Northern Borders. We're going to use bond money, and we have some other potential funding mechanisms, which will come up in the next conversation. Overall cost will end up being about 2.7, I think, or 2.5, 2.7, I think, somewhere in,
When the debt service is settled, is that what I'm getting?
with all engineering and everything included.
Thank you.
Yep.
Seeing no more discussion, all those in favor of the motion? All those opposed? One opposed, passes. Item 16, this is the new item that was added regarding the DEP, ARPA, and OSG grant funding. Turn over to you.
So, good evening, councilors. We got some good news last Friday, and we have to act on it by May 5th, which is why I'm here tonight. The State of Maine Department of Environmental Protection, the Clean Water State Revolving Fund, which is the fund for basically wastewater and some stormwater, is part of our application to them for a large project for sewer and storm drainage improvements with some pump station upgrades. We found out that because they have additional money coming in from ARPA and other federal agencies, that they are doing, instead of just loaning money, they're doing what they call principal forgiveness and grants. And we have been offered $2 million in free grant money, no conditions, through the ARPA program. And then we've also been offered $200,000 from the sewer overflow and stormwater reuse municipal grant funding, again from the Maine DEP. Again, no strings attached, other than we need to use it for the items that were in our original presentation or application to them.
So out of that project that you just said was about 2.5 million total, if we use we could use the 2.2 for that project?
I don't know that we can use all of it towards that project, no.
2.298?
I don't
Or
believe
five,
so.
4, 5, whatever. Is there a is there some restriction, you got to split them between the two projects that you submitted for, or that we submitted for? Or?
So, some of the money has to be for, at least 200,000, right, it has to be for what they call, I guess you could say that's an overboard discharge, but I'd have to clarify that honestly with them. I don't believe we can use the whole thing towards Water Street Pump Station, but I don't know that. And I don't know that it would benefit us where we already have bonding and stuff set up for that project and nothing for the other projects, which included the High Street Pump Station and stormwater issues. I don't know that it would benefit us to use this money for that and not start the process of designing, which is essentially what this money would be used for, is to start the designing process so that we would have shovel-ready projects that we could go after, you know, like, oh my God, congressional earmarks and other stuff that's gonna be rolling down the track in the next few years.
You're also not allowed to use federal funds for matching, there's some.
Right, so we'd have to use at least
difficulty.
$500,000 to match the existing Northern Borders grant we have.
So, and since this is ARPA funding, we couldn't use the federal funds to match the other federal funds, which is what the bonding money is for, is our match for the Northern Borders. So, we could use some of it to offset some of the costs, but that
Yeah.
match has to come from other sources, not federal funds.
So the projects you're referencing, we have projects ready to go. We have to accept it by May 9th. Are these funds have a expiration in terms of when they have to be used?
It says 2022 or 23.
So we have projects that
Yes.
are
Yeah.
ready to go that we were,
Yeah, so we would use, you know, if we were talking 200,000-300,000 probably, maybe more now, towards the Water Street Pump Station. And then the rest of it would be towards these other stormwater and sewer projects to move them forward.
Council Lyons?
It's one of them things where if we don't take it, somebody else will, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's completely free money. So if we don't use it, they'll send 2.2 million to somebody else.
You'll pardon me if I snicker. I've heard that term before.
Oh yeah, nothing's really free, but it is free.
It's available.
It's available, yes.
Yeah, it's gonna get paid back someday, but we can get none and then still pay it back, or we can get some and pay it back, so.
Councilor O'Hell?
I just want to clarify that this does not rope the city into millions of dollars of projects to use this. It sounds
Nope.
like you've got 2.2 million, and it sounds like you're allowed to use maybe 200,000 or 300,000 on this project, but does that rope us into more projects that's beyond our budget?
Nope, so if you look at this form right here, it says ARPA funding is not conditional upon borrowing via a Clean Water State Revolving Funds loan.
Loan.
If you accept the ARPA funding, please check this box. Upon acceptance of this offer, we will work with you to set up your grant. If the box is left unchecked, or you do not accept by the date listed below, we will assume that you do not wish to receive the funds. It's not linked to a loan or anything further. It's literally, here's $2.2 million to get you guys rolling.
How much are these other projects valued at that are ready to roll?
The whole application that was put forward by Woodard and Kern was 10.8 million, but it listed
Water Street Pump
multiple different
Station, High Street Pump
projects.
Station, and a whole bunch of stormwater work.
And we're not roped into this?
No. So the Water Street Pump Station, we're estimating is gonna cost probably about 400,000 of this 2.2 million. The High Street Pump Station, which is the next kind of priority as far as the wastewater goes, is estimated to be 1.8 million. So if we use the 400,000 for Water Street, we have the majority of the High Street Pump Station paid for with this grant funding, and then we'd have to come up with the remainder, either through some other funding source or, through additional bonding through the wastewater or something. But we've also put for a congressional earmark for that High Street Pump Station as well. So there's potential funding source there if we get that funding, then we would have the remainder of the 2.2 million to spend on other wastewater projects.
Or stormwater, it's wastewater and stormwater. So, and we can split it how, we can say we wanna put $1 million towards the pump station, and we're gonna put $500,000 towards storm drains. So it leaves it open-ended enough that we can do a little bit of something, or we can pick and choose, and it's all if we want to, how we want to.
Council Miller.
And this is $2.2 million that the city would have to spend anyway.
Correct.
We're just getting it from
There is-
ARPA funding.
The next
We were
thing-
gonna have to spend it anyway.
Yes, if we want to continue development out on High Street, we're going to need to do something about the High Street pump station for wastewater. And we're to the point where, and we heard this in the local roads meeting, drainage, drainage, drainage. That is our number one problem in this city, is drainage. And this could be a huge chunk to get us so far in being able to actually deal with the water so that we can really have some decent roads.
Move to approve the request of the Public Works Director to accept $2,200,000 from the Maine DEP and allow the city manager to sign required documentation.
You have a motion?
Second.
And a second. I would just comment, I think the other reality is, one thing I like is that it's moving some of these projects forward. I'm sure as we go through our next 18 weeks of Mondays, preparing a budget, the needs of the city are not few. There are lots of things that we're facing, both short-term and long-term, that we are going to have to address. We will have no choice. And a lot of those projects require phased approaches. Most of them require engineering and design so that it can be ready to then move to the next state. And that's where I think that we've gotten stuck, is that we look at the project of being $10 million and we freeze and we don't do anything. We're going to be faced with that. And so any project that we can start to move along and get to the place that we can move it to the next phase is good for the city. And this is a smart way of doing it in terms of having access to resources that we normally wouldn't. Now, we can all debate in terms of what that means on our other pocket, but for the city, it's a good decision. So glad that you put it forward. Any other comments?
And we'll get to it in the future, but there's also a program much like this for the drinking water side. And there's rumors that the same type of thing might be happening there too. So I may be back next month or the month after for something similar.
All those in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Item 17, Council Order Number 041807, request of the Finance Director for approval of the annual reports for tax year April 1st, 2021 through March 31st, 2022 for affordable housing tax increment financing districts Leonard Lake, Oriole Way, and Oriole Way Senior in the city of Ellsworth.
Josh is not here tonight, but these are the reports we put forward every year, and we have to file them with the state just to advise them of any changes in any of those districts, and there aren't any, so.
Mr. Chairman, move to approve the annual reports for tax year April 1, 2021 through March 31st, 2022 for affordable housing tax increment financing districts Leonard Lake, Oriole Way, and Oriole Way Senior in the city of Ellsworth.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Item 17, executive session to discuss labor negotiations between the City of Ellsworth and the Ellsworth Wastewater Treatment Plant laborers 327 in accordance with MRSA Title I, Chapter 13, Section 405, Paragraph 6D.
So moved.
Yep.
Move,
Second.
second.
Yep.
All those in favor? All those opposed? One opposed. We're going into executive session. Why?
Because I'm going right back out. Move up to the front now.
O'Halloran and Miller, do you want me to just email that to you since you didn't bring yours?
Or I'll get it after the meeting.
So we are back out of executive session. Counselors, is there a motion?
Move to accept the Ellsworth wastewater treatment negotiated contract as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Item 18, or item 19, executive session to discuss labor negotiations between the City of Ellsworth and the Ellsworth City Hall Clerks Unit, Massachusetts, and Northern New England Laborers District Council 327 in accordance with MRSA Title I, Chapter 13, Section 405, Paragraph 6D.
Move to go into executive session?
Second.
All those in favor? All those opposed? One opposed. You'll be able to decipher it. If not, call me.
I think I wrote it all down right. So.
I did, you probably did. I may have switched it up. All right, we are back out of executive session.
And I make a motion to accept the City of Ellsworth and Ellsworth City Hall Clerks Unit Labor's Local 327 agreement.
Second?
Motion and second, any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor? We're adjourned.
Lightouts.
You stick